As Master P would say, hooty hoo, that's the code for the killers. TFA fam, welcome in. It is Prop Talk, baby. Divisional round of the playoffs. We are back once again with my guy, the one and only, the infidel of Dynasty, Tom Corson. Tom, how you doing, buddy? How are things? How are you?
I'm pretty good, man. Don't love a lot this week, but you know what? That's perfectly fine. That's fine, though, because I'm not going to have a million bets in and come in around even. I'm either going to lose it all or I'm going to win it all. So I'm feeling more on the optimist side.
It is nicer whenever you don't have, like you said, a million things in, like you're sweating every single play. Call Saul joining us, Saul Goodman. That is. Appreciate rocking with us. Any questions you guys have on props, go ahead and drop them in, and we will get to them after, or just bets in general. We'll get to them after we run through ours. We both have 3 each as per usual. Tom, kick us off. What is your first prop for the divisional round?
I'm going to go Alan Lazard here, over 40.5 receiving yards. His longest reception is also 18.5. That's at minus 120. The yards is at minus 110. So they have to throw to somebody else other than Devontae, obviously, right? Lately, we've seen Alan Lazard step up big time for the Packers. He's topped 45 yards in 4 out of his last 5 games and has went over 70 yards in 3 of those games as well. He's making the most out of his targets as well and has catches of 20 yards or more in all 4 of those games. Rodgers is taking shot plays of Lazard. It's paying off for them, as Lazard has also scored a touchdown in each one of those games. He's got 5 in those 4 games. He's sitting at plus 175 to score an anytime touchdown. So if you want to dart throw there, that's a good one. And then if you like to put some stuff on lower on the first touchdown bets, he's at plus 1100. Those are pretty good odds. When we saw what Cedric Wilson did, Amari Cooper, didn't do great last week, but they both had over 60 yards. So yeah, I love that Lazard only needs 41 to hit that over there. Rodgers taking shots downfield to him, so I think he should cover that longest catch. I feel a little bit more comfortable with the extra volume there, so I like the 40. But you know what? I'm probably going to put some money down on both.
That's one I like as well, and I feel the same as you do with like not loving a lot this weekend. But I also like his total receptions at 3.5 for everything you said. It would make sense to me from San Fran's standpoint of like, okay, we'll let Alan Lazard and Josiah DeGora beat us, but we're not going to let Adams absolutely destroy us. That's what I would think. But Adams has been pretty unstoppable for the past 3-4 years. So I do like Lazard, and especially with no MVS, he looks doubtful to play in this game.
Yeah, and I do like Devontae Adams to have himself a game. Big players play big in big games. His number is 94.5 for receiving yards. That's a minus 120. Not sure if I'm going to put anything down on that, but I'm not taking the under. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Time to let the big dogs eat, as they say. Yeah. I'm going to start off with a receiver that's like kind of in the same area. And this one, like I feel the least confident in, but I do kind of like Gabe Davis over 37.5 receiving yards. He's actually hit this in 5 straight games. The only thing that makes me nervous here is Davis hasn't really been a high volume piece in this offense. He's only been targeted more than 5 times in just 3 games this year. We did see Josh Allen throw for 315 yards on just 26 attempts earlier this year as well. So assuming he's going to have to drop back a few more times than 26, being the mid 30 range, I would assume, that should make up for some of, if the efficiency isn't there, the higher attempts should make up for it in yards. And I think Davis was only targeted once in that last game. So I think Dawson Knox really carved them up in that first game, if I'm remembering correctly. So I think he might get a little more attention. Stephon Diggs on the other side, obviously. And that, as in terms of their nickel and slot corners, they've been playing well. So not, too concerned with Cole Beasley taking a bunch of looks away. So I do like Gabe Davis in this one, but like on a scale, if I'm rating these as like my least to most confident, I'm going to start off with Gabe Davis as my least confident one, but he should get there, just not one that I'm slamming the table for.
Yeah, they've been tricky because Josh Allen has been like crazy efficient down the stretch, but they've been running the ball more, which is much better for their offense. But I think Gabe Davis can get that. I think it's going to be a shootout, 53.5. It's the highest over-under of the week. I have another bet from that game, but I'm going to save that one for last because that's one that I fucking love. All right, we're gonna go here. Are you ready, Code?
Let's go. Let's do it.
We did it. We made an entire year, and we were like, oh, you know what? It's not going to happen. We're not going to do it. We're going to do some Cam Akers props, man. We did it. We made it. Cam
Love
Akers,
to see it.
Right. 47.5 rushing yards, minus 115. That's what I'm taking. He looked good last week, left some yards on the field. What I was most encouraged about, though, was the opportunities they gave him. Clearly, they believe he's fully healed. He's moving like he's fully healed. A little bit rusty, but 17 carries last week. Hopefully knocked the rust off. Also chipped in that 140-yard catch that pretty much made every single Cam Akers fanboy grab a box of tissues and clean himself up. Oh man. His combined number this week is 70.5. If that hits your spot a little bit, receiving, we'll get to in a little bit later. But Tampa Bay will not be putting 8 in the box every single play like they did last week against that fucking fraudulent Eagles team that Howie Roseman is probably going to screw up even more this offseason. So the Rams should be able to move the ball on the ground anyway. Sorry, I had to get my Eagles tirade out of there. Cam Akers is the opposite of Jalen Reagor, though. You know, I mean, he's actually good at football and isn't a constant disappointment to me. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just excited we got a Cam Akers prop, man. So, yeah, Cam Akers, 47.5 rushing yards. Go ahead, hit it.
I just want to say I'm proud of you for taking 5 minutes into the show to make a Howie Roseman and a Jalen Reagor complaint. So I'm proud of you, buddy. You're getting better. And that's what happens whenever you believe in the Eagles last week.
Yeah, I'm growing up. I mean, it was the first time all year. I'm like, you know what? I mean, the injuries, and then I'm just like, you motherfuckers. Like, you mother. It's all right. And it's not even like I was like, yeah, they're going to win. They're going to win. It was just like, yeah, they got a shot. I mean, the matchup. And then it's like Brady's like, boop, dead. You forgot, like, I'm Tom Brady. Like, what? What is this? And Tom Brady even caught a ball last week. It wasn't actually on the field of – well, it was on the field of play. It didn't count. But he caught a ball last week. Then he sends a TikTok out just trolling all the Eagles fans. I'm like – it was good. Good stuff, though. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. Hope Howie gets fired.
Bring it back to Cam Akers. A positive note. Yes, back to positivity, back to Cam Akers. I'm going to go over on his receiving total, sitting at 18.5. You mentioned that one catch he had for 40 yards. He also had that other catch on the left side of the field where he made that nasty cut, put the defender on his ass, but that ended up being called back. That probably would have been like another 15-ish yards or so, 15 to 20 yards. Ended up being called back because of the penalty. But as good as the Bucs run D has been all year, they have struggled against running backs in the passing game. Throughout the regular season, they gave up the 7th most receiving yards to running backs throughout the regular season. Last week, you were talking about the workload that Akers got last week. He had 53% of the snaps. Sony Michel only played 40. And this is one of the reasons why I like this one so much is, one, obviously it's Cam Akers. But two, during the regular season, the Bucs blitzed at the highest rate in the league. They were over 40% blitz rate throughout the year. So the way you slow down that blitz is with screen passes. And if they can time one up just right, you can get Cam Akers hitting this in one play the way that he did last week. And if we look at the week before that, he did see 3 targets. So they're going to get him involved in the passing game. And I like this one going up against the Bucs, especially if they're going to keep playing aggressively. And like I said, all it takes is just that one time to time that up perfectly on a screen pass, and Akers can hit this in one play.
Cam Akers, man, we did it. I mean, it took to the playoffs, but it's okay. Hey,
good things come to those who wait.
I know. All right, my final one. We're going to go same game parlay here. We're going to go Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes to each have 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdown passes, at least. What do you think those odds are at?
Just for those two?
Yeah.
I'm going to say plus 250.
No, it's even money. It's not. It's even money, man.
Okay.
Come on. Well,
See, you put out the teaser, and I was thinking
yeah.
like, okay, it must
Yeah.
be higher.
Well, no, I was thinking that was going to be like minus because when you look back at last week, okay, they're both killing it, and I just mean it's crazy. I'm going to put more money on that bet than I probably am any other bet this week. I'm actually shocked it sits at even money, man. If it was sitting at 200, that would be bonkers. So, they are both at 2.5, I believe. Normally, no.
Okay.
Josh Allen's 1.5 at minus 200. Mahomes at 2.5 at minus money as well, from what I remember seeing. In week 5, they played each other. Allen had 3 touchdowns. Mahomes had 2. That game went for 58 points. Mahomes has 2 or more passing touchdowns in his last 6 games. Allen has that in 5 of his last 6. So I love this bet. I think it's going to be a shootout. Main stage, basically prime time. That it gets that last spot to the championship game. These QBs, I mean, you saw what Mahomes did last week after he watched Allen the day before. They just go out, they try and one up each other. So I love this one. If it's at 2.5 and you're talking about 3 touchdowns, then you're talking about it's that's where your odds are going to be a lot higher. But because I can take 2 touchdowns a piece and they can push on that, it's not a half bet. That's why I like that bet so much, because I think there's going to be points in this game, and fucking Mahomes can just go down there and it'd be a damn shuffle pass to Kelsey or something like that. It's silly. They just do stuff like that. So I love that bet for even money.
Yeah, so on DK, Allen is at 1.5 at minus 200, and Mahomes is at 2.5, but the over is at plus 130 on the 2.5.
Right, and I would rather take that down.
Right.
Yeah, for Mahomes, then that sits at even money. So that's a good one for me.
So the last one I have here that I'm going to talk about, I have a couple more I'll throw out, but the last one that I really like, this is one I like the most this weekend. Elijah Mitchell over 80.5 rushing yards. He's hit this in 8 of his 12 games played this year. Green Bay ranks 28th in rush DVOA, 26th in adjusted line yards. I would think that San Fran is going to do whatever they can to keep Rodgers and that offense off of the field. I don't think they want anything to do with a shootout with Green Bay, especially on the road. So I really like Elijah Mitchell in the over on this one at 80.5, and I like him at an anytime touchdown as well. I think you hit the first touchdown bet on Eli last week, correct?
I did. Yes, I did. That actually was a very nice payout there because I put a $25 free bet on it. So that worked out pretty nicely. I think it was at plus 800 or plus 1,000. Whatever it did, I didn't lose money last week. So that was nice.
Saved you on that one?
Yeah, it did. I have him this week as well for a first touchdown along with Adams. I'll probably throw a little bit on Aaron Jones just in case the running backs. The fun part about the first touchdown bets this week is you have, good running backs in all those games. In the early game, put money on Derrick Henry. That's at plus 450. And Joe Mixon, either plus 650 or plus 700, depending on what site you look at. And then if you want to put money on A.J. Brown or Chase or Higgins, whatever it is, that's a dart throw. So that's good. But typically, whenever I have 2 stud running backs like that, I'm going to put money down on both those running backs, and I'm going to hedge. There's also another one for that game I like, each scoring an anytime touchdown for Henry and Mixon for a same game parlay. That's at plus 190. I know Mixon didn't get in last week, but I like that, throwing a little bit down there. Under the divisional specials for DraftKings, they have another bet involving Henry and Mixon to combine for 150 rushing yards. So it doesn't matter, Henry can get 140 and Mixon gets 11, and that works out, whatever. That's at minus 105 too, so it's about even odds.
Yeah,
I think Henry comes back pretty strong. Mixon should contribute enough to hit that mark. For reference, by the way, Derrick Henry, who's been dead for 2 months now, 2.5 months, is opening up at 80.5 rushing yards in his first game back.
He opened up at 79, and that's already been bet up.
Okay, yeah. And Mixon is at 60.5 rushing yards. So
yeah, I don't know what's crazier, the fact that his yards are at that point, or for him for an anytime touchdown is at minus 190.
Yeah. You're like, really?
But it hurts. It really hurts that Bengals run D that Ogunjobi is not going to be in. So that's going to be a big hit to that, especially that run defense that wasn't all that great, especially toward the end of the year. So going to be really interesting to see how many times Henry touches the ball, because like I said, minus 190 anytime touchdown, only plus 450 for first, to score first is kind of wild.
And that game in general, sorry, cut you off there. That game in general with Tennessee, how they played against wide receivers, it's going to be another one of those weeks where take Chase and Higgins on whatever bet you're going to take, like receiving yards or touchdowns or whatever, because they could both go off. One of them's going to, because that Tennessee secondary has not been great against receivers all season. So it just depends on what you want to do. Chase is sitting at 76.5. T. Higgins, and it logged me out, of course.
Higgins was at like 62.5, I think, 63.5. Right.
So both of those are fine. I was looking at Chase's receptions, but it's minus like 160 for 5.5. So I was like, wow, Jesus. So what I think you might want to do with that game is do some same game parlay stuff and just kind of go from there.
Yeah, and I think Higgins' receiving total was at 5.5, and that must have got a ton of money put on the under, so then it went down to 4.5, and now the under on 4.5 is at like minus 170. So it got hit really hard on both numbers. And what I just wanted to throw in here, you were talking about Alan Lazard on the first TD odds. Do you know who he's tied with at plus 1100?
For first touchdown? No, why don't you tell me?
George Kittle has the same odds for first touchdown as Alan Lazard.
Yeah, what does that tell you about what they think of the game?
Crazy. And I wanted to take Kittle at 51.5, but dude, he hasn't been over 30 yards in the past 5 games in a row.
Right.
Like after he went on that.
Right. Since I needed him. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, just a couple other ones that I like. We were talking about that Bengals game. I do like CJ Uzomah over his receiving total. That's at like 32.5. He's been kind of hit and miss, but he's had some big games this year as well.
That son of a bitch stole my first touchdown last week. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, that was. Who did you have? Did you have Mixon?
Mixon and Chase. Of course. Oh, and didn't we have who was the other shithead tight end? Cam Brate, who should have had one, in the Eagles game.
Oh my god.
That hurt.
Yes. We were talking beforehand. I messaged you, asked you about Cam Brate, and you were like, this is crazy. I was literally just talking about him. And then I'm watching the game. He gets that catch on the left side. He has the tackle pulling out in front of him. I'm like, oh my god, here it is. Cam Brate first TD. And then he cuts back into his blocker. He literally go left, and he would have walked in. There was no one else there, and he cut back into the blocker. Despite that, I do kind of like Cam Brate over. I think he's at 16 or 17.5 receiving yards. I think with the fact that Ryan Jensen and Tristan Wirfs are banged up, especially Wirfs, right? Because he's a tackle. I think they might have Gronk stay in to at least chip a little more often. Jensen, I think, plays because even though he got injured, I think he had 2 DNPs and maybe a limited practice on Friday, but he ended up finishing out that game. Tristan Wirfs did not. He tried to come back in, couldn't go, so he went back out. He got in a limited practice on Friday, but if he's limited and he has Von Miller on that side, and then they have Aaron Donald coming up the middle, like it might get a little ugly. I do like Tom Brady under 290. Let me say it. I don't like it, because I like to bet against
time to
Brady.
hedge. You were
Right.
like, "Am I saying bad things
Yeah,
about Tom Brady?"
I realized I realized I was about to say I like betting against Tom Brady. I
Right.
don't like betting against Brady, but what I was just saying with under 290.5, because of the offensive line problems that they have. We saw that defensive line for the Rams absolutely get after Kyler Murray, who can actually escape the pocket and is elusive compared to Tom Brady. Now, obviously, Brady's going to get the ball out of his hands quicker, but 290.5 is just like, it seems like a little high. Like, I don't know if I'm going to have the cojones to actually put money on that.
I would,
but
I'm not taking the under though.
I
Maybe
either way. But like I said, Cam Brate at 16.5, 17.5. I think we see Gronk have to stay in to, like I said, at least chip a little bit. And I do like Brate to hit the over. Is there anything else you like here this week?
I like Arians to at least hit one more of his players on the sideline. Possibly Tristan Wirfs is playing out there with a wooden leg. Get out there! Something along those lines. I mean, I don't know. So do you have any predictions for the games? Because I'm looking at the games and I'm kind of lost on some of them. I like Green Bay to win.
Do you like the 5.5 though?
I was thinking about doing a teaser for that. I like Cincinnati to win outright this week.
I like it as well. The only thing that like has me hesitant is like I have hated the Titans all year, and they somehow always come through with a win. And it is the Bengals, right? Like we saw them like almost give that up at the end of the game last week. So
but that's where the tease comes in. Is you can bet them up to 9.5 or 10. And then you can take the Packers up to either a half point or a point. Because I think the Packers win. And then if you take the points with Cincy, then I like that as well. Do you have a feel for that Rams-Tampa game? Because I have nothing.
I think the Rams can pull it off, but that's again, like maybe I just end up doing like a parlay just to get some crazy odds or something like that. But I don't know if I'll do a single bet on that game. Like I said, outside maybe doing some teasers. Maybe take the over in that game and tease that down to 42. Do something like that.
And then I might do the same with the over in the Buffalo Chiefs game.
Take that up to 60.
No, I'm not taking the under. I'll take it down.
Okay.
Yeah, because even at 60, they got 58 last game, so I'm not. That was when both of those teams, like both those quarterbacks, weren't like firing on all cylinders. Like they're both coming off games
especially the Chiefs.
Right, they're both coming off games where it was like magic. So I can definitely see like a 33-30 game. And I have no idea what team's going to win. So I'm not putting money there. If anything, I would probably take the Bills and in a teaser just to get that up to 8 points. But aside from that, I don't even know. I would just tease the under down and take the over.
Right. I just hope that game lives up to expectations. I feel like there's been so many times this year where we've seen games like this. Over-unders are at 53.5, 55.5. It's like, all right, here we go. Smash game. And then it ends up being a total of like 31.
Right. Give me the Rams Chiefs like a couple years ago on Monday Night Football when it's like 60-51, please. Like just, you hit the over in the first half. Do it. Like that's what I want. Come on. But I'll tell you what.
I also just want closer games this weekend too. Like a lot of those games last week were just snooze fast, just boring trash games. So Twisted Steel and Sex Appeal coming through with the who said hey yo? Was that
hey yo? That's Rocky. Come on, man.
No, Kev will know this. The WWF, WCW.
Oh, that was Razor
one of the
Ramon.
wrestlers. Right? Yeah. Okay. I was trying to think if it was him or Nash.
Oh yeah,
The
I think they
toothpick.
both did it, but it was more El Razor Ramone.
The Razor's Edge.
Yeah, the Razor's Edge. What a weird wrestling move to do to people and just paralyze them in a pool. I always love doing the Razor's Edge in the pool and just like picking up, like Razor's Edge. You're like, why? And they're like flailing around.
Not again.
Right. I'm like, yeah. And you're like, you gotta stop doing that to me out of the pool. Like if you're in an above ground pool, you're literally just throwing them out of the pool and trying to smash their neck. And the above ground pool is like surrounded by like those rocks and gravel. Oh, fantastic.
Kev always coming in at the last minute. We appreciate the $10 holla. Kind of holla bitch holla.
Yeah, I wonder who he thinks is going to win KC Buffalo.
He might have a reasonable take.
Maybe. You think? Is it reasonable?
I said he might.
I'm not holding my breath.
We are excited for this weekend. You can always join the Discord, and any questions you guys have, anything, any kind of bets you're tossing around your head, you can always join the Discord and throw it in. We have a channel dedicated for player props and bets over there, so you can always talk to us there. You can get Tom on Twitter at Dynasty Infidel. You can get myself at CKutzerFF as well. Good luck to all you this weekend. There it is. See, it's reasonable.
It is, and it hits that over.
Does hit the over.
But it's right under that 60 number. Look at you doing the math. You're like, give me a calculator. 69. Nice.
Ooh. All right.
59.
That's it.
Good job,
My
Tom.
God. Yeah, we need the wine and the beers are starting to hit now. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for rocking with us. Please hit that subscribe and that like. Good luck this weekend in all your bets, all your DFS plays as well. And we'll talk to you next week for the conference round. It's almost the end of the year.
I'm all out of love, so lost without you.